What if the reason grounding techniques don't work for you has nothing to do with the technique itself? What if the real reason is something much deeper, something that has been with you since before you even took your first breath? Today we're going to explore that. And then, yes, we will do the techniques, but this time they will actually land. Hi, I'm Uma and I'm guiding you through emotional literacy in my series of videos. I'm a classically trained shaman and I train shamans internationally. In our last video, we talked about the energy dance between being stoked and being anxious. And I promised you grounding techniques. And I will deliver on that promise today. But first, I need to tell you something important, something that most grounding videos skip entirely, because without this, the techniques are just exercises. And with it, they become something that can genuinely change how you feel in your body, maybe for the first time in your life. To feel grounded, you first need something to ground into. And that something is your sense of self. Now, most of us have an idea about who we are. We have a name, a job, a personality, a story that we tell about ourselves. But that is not what I mean by a sense of self. What I mean is something much more fundamental. It is the felt experience of being you, the energetic, embodied knowing of where you end and the world begins. This quiet, unshakable awareness that says, I'm here, I exist, I'm enough. And for most people, that felt sense of self is fractured, not because something is wrong with you, but because of how most of us grew up. Think about it. If you grew up in a family where you were not trained in self-discernment, where nobody sat with you and said, what do you feel? What do you need? What do you think? Then you learned to look outward for these answers. You learned to read the room, to adjust yourself to become what was needed. And if you grew up in an environment where perfection was the price of worthiness, where making a mistake meant something was fundamentally wrong with you, then you learned that your natural, imperfect, developing self was not safe to show. So you hid parts of yourself, you split them off, you put them in a drawer somewhere deep inside and said, not now, maybe never. And if you were given responsibilities that were way beyond your capability, if you had to be the emotional support for a parent, or the peacekeeper in a chaotic household, or the perfect child in a family that needed you to be fine, then you learned to abandon your own center entirely because there was simply no room for it. So the sense of self that most people are trying to ground into is built on a foundation of brokenness, not empowered self-knowledge, not a felt, energetic, balanced center that they truly own. And then we wonder why grounding techniques don't work. Some people feel this and to try to fix it. They go to yoga, they go to therapy, they meditate. And these are generally good steps, really good steps. I mean that. But even with all of these tools, if we are still looking outside of ourselves for something to stabilize us, if the yoga mat is what makes us feel grounded, or the therapist's office where you feel safe, then our grounding will never be complete. Because true grounding can only happen from the inside out. And this brings me to the most important thing I want to share with you today, the thing that I believe is the real foundation of deep grounding. Your core is indestructible. Your soul is indestructible. I want you to really let that land for a moment. Whatever happened to you, whatever was said to you, whatever was done to you or not done for you, whatever parts of yourself you had to hide, suppress, split off, or abandon to survive your childhood, your family, your society, none of that touched your soul. Not really. What happened is that in your human consciousness, in your nervous system, in your story about yourself, you split apart, you fragmented, you lost access to parts of yourself. But in the energetic reality, in the deeper truth of what you are, nothing was ever broken. Nothing was ever lost. It was just temporarily out of reach. And this is so important for grounding, because if you do not know this, if you do not trustingly, bodily know this, then you will always be looking for something in the outside world to make you feel whole. A relationship, an achievement, a spiritual practice, a teacher. And the moment that thing is not there, your ground disappears with it. But when you know, really know, that your core cannot be destroyed, something shifts. You stop trying to build yourself from the outside in, and you start allowing yourself to be found from the inside out. True grounding opens when we allow ourselves to be perfect exactly as we are. Not perfect in the way our families wanted us to be, not perfect in the way society defines it, but perfect as a human being in the process of becoming, perfect in our growth, perfect in our confusion, perfect in our faults, and perfect in our healing. Because in that acceptance, in that radical, loving allowance of everything that we are right now, we create an opening, an energetic opening. And through that opening, something can flow, something deep and steady and ancient. And that flow, that connection to our deepest core truth is what real grounding feels like. So before we do anything else today, I want to offer you this as your first invitation. Allow yourself to feel, just for this moment, that you are perfect the way you are. That wherever your soul is, that indestructible, luminous, ancient thing that chose to come here and have this human experience, it is whole. It always has been whole. And it is waiting for you to come home to it. Now, I also want to say something with a lot of tenderness here. Some of you are listening to this and feeling a kind of grief, because what I am describing, this felt sense of safety, of groundedness, of being at home in your body, is something you have never experienced. Not really. And I want you to know that this is not your fault. Your parents may not have known what grounding is. They may have been wonderful people who loved you deeply and still had no idea how to be grounded themselves, because their parents didn't know either, and their parents before them. We're talking about generations of people who were never taught that their body is a home, who were never shown that their emotions are information, who were never given permission to simply be. And for some of you, the disconnection goes even deeper than that. Some bodies have never experienced safety, not even in the womb. If your mother was anxious during pregnancy, if there was trauma in your family field before you were even born, your nervous system may have arrived in this world already in a state of alert, already bracing, already trying to manage something that was never yours to manage. So when grounding techniques feel difficult, or when they seem to work for other people but not for you, please hear this. The techniques are working at the level of energy you are currently capable of holding. And that level will grow. It grows every time you practice. It grows every time you feel an emotion instead of pushing it away. It grows every time you restore a split of part of yourself back into your awareness. Grounding is not a destination, it's a returning. And some of us have a longer journey home than others, and that's okay. That is more than okay. That is just where we are in the process. Okay, now we do the techniques. And I want you to approach these not as exercises to perform correctly, but as invitations. Invitations to visit yourself, to say hello to your body, to allow your awareness to travel into places it maybe hasn't been in a very long time. You cannot do this wrong. There is no wrong here. There is only what you notice. Let's begin. Wherever you are right now, sitting, standing, lying down, bring your awareness to the soles of your feet. Just notice them. Feel the contact they make with the floor, with the earth beneath you, even through shoes. And now I want to offer you something to think about while you do this. Every single cell in your body is made of the same material as this planet. The mineral in your bones, the water in your blood, the carbon in every cell. You are not separate from Earth. You are Earth, temporarily walking around in a human shape. So when you feel your feet on the ground, you are not just standing on the earth. You are the earth, touching itself. Let that connection be real for you, even just a little bit, even just for this moment. Now slowly let your awareness travel upward from your feet. Feel your ankles, your calves, your knees. Take your time. Feel your thighs, your hips, your pelvis. Notice what's there, notice what's not there. The places that feel numb or distant, or like they belong to someone else. And here's the most important instruction I can give you for this exercise. Do not judge what you find. If a part of your body feels numb, that's an information. It's not a failure. It is simply a part of you that has been waiting quietly for you to come back. Continue upward. Your belly, your lower back, your chest, your heart space. Notice your shoulders, your arms and hands, your throat, your jaw. Many of us carry so much in our jaw. Your face and the space behind your eyes and the top of your head. And now, just for a moment, hold your whole body in awareness at once, all of it. The parts that feel alive and the parts that feel distant, the parts you love and the parts you have been avoiding. All of this is you, and all of this is welcome here. Now let's work with the breath. I'm not going to ask you to breathe in a specific way. I'm going to ask you to allow your breath to deepen on its own. Just notice your breath as it is right now. And then, with curiosity, see if it wants to go a little deeper. Not force, not control, just allow. Which cells of your body want to be reached by your breath? And with each exhale, feel yourself become a little heavier, a little more settled, like you are dropping gently into the earth beneath you. And if there is anything you have been carrying that is not yours, old emotion, other people's expectations, the weight of who you were supposed to be, you can let the exhale take some of that with it. You do not have to carry it all. Not right now. Not in this breath. Now bring your awareness to your back. If you're sitting or standing, feel whatever's behind you, the chair, the wall, the air. And now I want to invite you to feel something else behind you, something that is always there, whether you feel it or not. Call it whatever resonates with you, your ancestors, your protective spirit, the universe, God, your higher self. It does not matter what you call it. What matters is the felt sense of being supported from behind. You are not doing this alone. You have never been doing this alone. There is something behind you that has been with you through every difficult moment of your life. Every moment you thought you would not survive, every moment you felt completely alone. It was there. It is here now. Let your back soften into that support just a little, just enough to feel that you do not have to hold everything by yourself. And now the most powerful technique of all, and also the simplest. Think of a part of yourself that you have been avoiding, a part that feels broken or shameful or too much or not enough. A part you split off a long time ago because it was not safe to show. You do not need to know exactly what it is, just feel it. There's probably a space in your body where it lives. And now, instead of pushing it away, instead of trying to fix it or understand it or make it better, just say hello. You can say it out loud, or you just feel it internally. Hello, I see you. You are welcome here. You're part of me. And I'm not going anywhere. And that's it. That's all that's needed. That's the whole technique. Because of this act of turning towards the parts of yourself you have been running from, this is grounding at its deepest level. This is how you build a self that is solid enough to stand on, not by becoming perfect, but by becoming whole. I want to add one more thing for those of you who appreciate the science alongside the shamanic. What we just did, all of it, has a direct effect on your nervous system. When you are ungrounded, your nervous system is in a state of activation. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. And in that state, emotions cannot be felt safely. They are either overwhelming or completely shutting down. Grounding moves your nervous system out of that activation and into what scientists call the ventral vagal state, a state of safety and connection. And in that state, emotions become information again. They become manageable. They become the language of your soul, which is exactly what this whole series is about. Shamans have known this for thousands of years. Science is catching up. And now you are living proof of it every time you take your conscious breath and feel your feet on the ground. Your body was always meant to be a warm, safe, welcoming home for your soul. Not a battlefield, not a performance, not a machine that has to earn its right to exist. A home. And grounding is not something you achieve once and then have forever. It's something you return to again and again. Every time life puts you out of yourself, every time the stoked feeling crashes into anxiety, every time you find yourself looking outside for something that can only be found within. You return, you feel your feet, you breathe, you say hello to the parts of yourself that are waiting. And slowly, over time, home starts to feel more familiar, more safe, more yours. So my invitation to you today is try one of these techniques. Not to fix yourself, not to become more spiritual or more evolved or more anything, just to visit yourself, just to say, I'm here. And I am worth coming home to. Like and follow for more emotional literacy content. And I would love to know, where in your body do you feel most grounded and where do you feel most numb or disconnected? Tell me in the comments below, because your answer might just become my next video. See you there.